Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the second episode of PHP with MySQL Crash Course for Beginners. Data types. Data types represent the type of data that a variable or a constant can hold. PHP supports various data types, each with its specific characteristics and uses. In PHP, variables can hold different types of data. However, you don't need to specify one. And here we have got Visual Studio Code as our code editor, and if you need to learn more about VSCODE, you can watch my VS Base series and find the link in the description below. Let me bring up our Explorer, and here I'm gonna make a new file. Or let's do one thing. This is the file that we created in our previous episode. So what I'm gonna do, because we will need the basic focus of this series is PHP, the backend programming. So but wherever we'll need the front end, we'll also discuss that. However, we don't need this HTML template. So what we can do is just let's make a copy, because we'll also need the footer. That's why let's make a new file, say sample, and here let's go all the way down, and I'm gonna cut this line of code from here, select all and delete, and I'm gonna paste that line here. And now let's add, here's some room, and let's add PHP tag, and let's cut that from here and within single quote, because we also have quotes in this code, so double quotes in this code, so let's keep that within single quote, and let's echo this code. Cut that, hit save, and make sure that it should be working as we need. So for that, let me bring up my terminal. So to launch our XAMPP server, let's change the directory to opt, say lamp, and hit enter and list the directories. And this is the file that you need to call if you want to launch XAMPP. So let's type in here sudo manager. That does not, the tab is not working here. I don't know what's the reason. So let's type it manually, followed by period and forward slash, and type in here manager hyphen linux hyphen x64 dot run. Hit enter, and that should launch the XAMPP server. And let me bring it up to the center, and make sure that your Apache web server is working, and click this start button to make it work. And now let's bring up our browser and type in here local host, hit enter. Alright, so that's working. Let's go to our application page, which is localhost PHP tutorial, as well as the name of the file sample.php, just to make sure that it should be working as we expected. Hit enter. Yes, that's working pretty fine. Let me zoom it in a bit. That is 400, I think, to 100%. And let's make another change here. Let's make this 10 RAM. Hit save and get back to our browser. Yes, that looks perfect. Let's get back to VS Code, and let's make a copy of let's close indexed first, and let's make a copy of or what you could simply do sample, and that should highlight that file. Let's make a copy, and let's rename that file as data hyphen types, data types. All right, Close the Explorer and let's add a PHP tag there, and let's echo here hello world, followed by the semicolon. Always remember to terminate PHP statement by adding semicolon at the end. Hit save, and just to make sure that everything's working as we expected, let me open our live server. Alright, let's close that and let's open our PHP server as well, just to auto reload. And let me close the terminal as well as these notifications. Let me resize the editor as well as browser, and let's change the address to say the name of the file that we have just created, data-types.php. Hit enter. Alright, so that's perfectly working. Now let's move on. So before we go ahead, let me tell you that how you can check type of data. So for that, let's cut that line of code from there, and let me define a variable $my var equals to, within quotes, say 42, and after that let's echo within quotes type colon, and you can get the type with getType method. Hit enter, and you need to pass here the variable that you want to check the type of. So in our case, this is my var string, and let's add a line break there. Hit save, and we get PHP error. Get type, expecting comma or a semicolon. Alright, so let's add, I forgot to add a concatenation period here. Hit save. Alright, so that's a string. That's how you can check the type of any of the variable. Now let's talk about some common data types. First of all, we are going to jump into integer, and integer is a fundamental data type used in programming to represent whole numbers without any decimal or fractional part. So for that, let me add some room here. Let's go all the way up. Alright, let's get back there, and let me define a variable here, say number equals to 42 followed by semicolon, and let's echo followed by quotes, and I'm gonna add in here integer space or say colon, or since we are using double quotes, so we can add the variable there as well, but it does not suggest the variables if we are within double quotes context. So let's concatenate that $number, and let me show you. Now if I start typing here, it does not suggest any variable, so that's why I avoid using it. So the better is you can concatenate variable. Let's add some line break for better illustration. Hit save, and we get integer 42. So let me add a headings there as well as comments. So to check type of a variable, let's comment that out and go to the next row and type in here integer. Let's comment that out as well. Go to the next row. Secondly, let's talk about float or double, floating point number. A float or double is a numeric data that can represent decimal numbers such as 3.14, -0.25, 100.0, and etc. So let's add a comment there, say float or double. Let's add a variable here, float number equals to 3.14, point 14 followed by semicolon, and let's echo within quotes float or double colon space. Let's concatenate the variable float number, and let's add some line break. Hit save, and this is a float or double. In PHP we call floating point number double as well. Now after that, let's go all the way up, and after that let's move on to strings. A string refers to a sequence of characters such as letters, numbers, symbols, or spaces arranged in a specific order and enclosed within single or double quotes. By the way, we will just have some idea of a string, otherwise we'll have a dedicated episode on strings. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna add here a comment, say string. Let's comment that out, and let's add a new variable $string var equals to, within quotes, say hello, and here I'm gonna add codeStraight followed by semicolon, and let's add some line break. It's safe, and we don't get anything because we haven't echoed the string variable. So $string var followed by semicolon, hit save, and we get hello codeStraight. So that is an example of string. Next we are going to discuss about Boolean. Boolean is a data type that represents a logical value. It can have one of two possible states, true or false. Let's add a heading here, Boolean. Let's comment that out, and $is true equals to, the value can be true, and then $is false equals to false. And then let's echo Boolean. I'm gonna add some parentheses there. Let's type in here true, and colon. Let's concatenate $is true, semicolon, and let's add some line break there, and after that let's echo Boolean false. Let's add a colon as well. Let's add some space there as well, and let's concatenate $is false, and after that let's add some line break, hit save, and we get Boolean true, Boolean false. Or if you like, you can also make this be uppercase. Let's go all the way up. Let's add some room there. Alright, now we are going to move on to null. Null is a spatial data type that represents a variable with no value, or a variable that has explicitly been set to null. Let me add a comment, and let's define a new variable, say null var equals to null followed by semicolon, and let's echo within quotes null colon, and let's concatenate $null var. After that let's add some line break, hit save, and we get null. Now one of the most important data types in PHP is an array. An array is a data structure that stores multiple values in a single variable. You'll learn more about it in its dedicated episode. However, just for an idea, let's have an example. Let me add a heading there, array. Let's comment that out, and let's define here my new variable. My array is going to be, and you can define an array with a function array, and make sure that you have also installed, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you have also installed PHP IntelliFence. That's why we get all of these suggestions. So as you start typing, it triggers suggestion box, and let's add that in here. It also suggests you the name of the variable, so we have already defined that, so we don't need it. Let's cut that, my array, and let's define, it needs a couple of set of array. So the elements can be apple, comma, by the way, don't worry about it, we'll discuss array in detail in its dedicated episode. Apple, banana, and then the third element would be orange. Let me wrap the editor. Alright, and now if you try to echo an array, let me add quotes and ARRAY colon, let's concatenate $my array, hit save, we get an error. Array to string conversion. Echo is used to display or output the string, any variable that has a string value or a number. But to display structured information, you will need print_r. Print_r is a function used for debugging purpose. It displays structured information such as an array in a human readable format. So to do that, let's get back in here and let's comment this out for now. And let's add here print_r and the name of the array $myArray. Alright, and after that let's add some line break as well. Hit save and we get structured information, pretty nice to display. And let me define it. So it has key and value pair. The key of this first element is 0 or index, and the value is apple. And the second, and remember one thing, that array always starts with 0. The first element's index value is always 0. So the second element is going to be 1 and the value of the index is 1, and the third element's key value is 2. Say if you want to display any specific element of an array, you can access that element with the help of its key. Say if you want to display the second element, the value of the second element is banana, but the key value is 1. So let's get back to VS Code and let's uncomment this line of code, and you can access any of the key with the help of square bracket and add in here the key you would like to display. Say in that case 1. Hit save and we get banana. Let me add some line break there as well. Alright, so that's how you can access any of the element of your array individually if you like. Finally, you would like to know about object. An object is a fundamental concept in object-oriented programming that allows you to create an instance of a class, and you will learn more about it in its dedicated episode. And that was all about data types in PHP. If you have any question, you just feel free to comment below, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching and see you next time.